Hello everyone and welcome to another Gamereactor Quick Look, a video series here on Gamereactor where we take a look at some of the cool gadgets that flow through the office. You may have noticed that some time ago, Nintendo published or released the NES Mini, a small version of the original console which holds a lot of digital versions of the games you know and love, like Super Mario and like Excitebike and all manner of classics that you could play digitally right there on the small console, which retailed for something akin to $80 or $90. So in a very sort of price-friendly version. Now, it seems that the NES Mini was so popular that more console manufacturers or third parties have followed suit and released small, price-friendly versions of the original consoles. We have two, and today we're taking a look at one of them, and that is a flashback to the Atari 2600, a very, very old console, much older than the NES. It's called the Atari Flashback 7, and in the same vein as the NES Mini, it retails for, I think, $80 on Amazon. So quite price-friendly, and it comes with two wireless versions of the original controllers. I have Thomas here with me. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And today we are, in the same style as we did with the NES Mini, we're taking a look at how the console actually looks and also how it plays. So if we're going straight to what we're seeing on screen right now, this is how the menu looks. So as you can see, Atari Flashback 7, classic game console, so very much what we know from the NES Mini, which is sort of an overlay menu which you can quickly access by pressing reset on the Player 1 controller. So you can fly in and out of games at your own leisure. There is not the same save system as there is
the Mini, NES Mini.
As the Mini, which holds sort of thing. I think for the last 4 games you played, you can continue right back. It sort of suspends them in the same vein that PlayStation 4 does, or an iOS app. But this, you can jump into a classic game you know and love, and you can play it 2 players, and you can jump out. So that's basically what it is. So let's start by going into, I think, one of the classic games of that era, Centipede.
Look at the detail and animation on this.
Yeah, and the first thing you should know is that whereas the NES Mini sort of has some modern day features that makes it easier to enjoy the games, like the nostalgic games of yesteryear, today, this is very much just the console.
This is a flashback. It
Yeah.
offers what the Atari would offer
Yes.
back in the day.
One thing that it does offer is that these controllers are wireless, whereas of course they were wired.
True.
But and they are terrible, these controllers. However, one cool thing that the NES Mini does not have is that this flashback console does let you plug in your old controllers. If you happen to have an Atari 2600 at home, this actually lets you play your old games and also lets you use your old controllers. If you are the kind of person that really likes the nostalgia of doing such a thing, of saving your old consoles. So that's actually possible, and I quite like that, though, because these, maybe if we can get back to the wide shot, is that this is, I think, infrared.
This little...
Yes, because it sends a
button
direct signal, laser signal, to the console, which has a receiver on it on the front. So if I, for example, like to sit like this, it won't work.
Or if you support it with your hand and obstruct the lens, it won't work. It's like a very old TV.
It's like a very old TV. But then again, I just press there's a reset button here so we can go back and we can play Canyon Bomber. We can play Centipede. I think is one of the games that people really remember. Another one is perhaps like Asteroids or the Atari Climber game, which was Atari's attempt of making a Donkey Kong clone, as you can see, which basically just have these lasers.
I think it's a popular console game, arcade game.
Yeah, it is.
Setup.
A lot of these games, a lot of the games that were released on the original 2600 was also in arcade cabinets all over the country. So people mostly remember these games by going to the arcades and paying But it's like getting ready on the ladder itself. So basically, it is a very basic concept in that. This is, in fact, a much more basic concept than what the NES Mini offers, which is sort of I would say that it's a more modern take. But this very much just offers you what was back then in a form which is slightly easier, because it is, as we can show that maybe a bit later, but this is a very light, very small console. It might not fit in your pocket, but it can easily fit in your bag without being cumbersome. And
definitely, yeah. And it weighs next to nothing.
Yeah, and also like it costs It costs almost like only a bit more than what you would pay for a AAA game today. And you get in this on this console, you have, I think it's 101 games digitally available. And I mean, I think that has to be pretty good value for money, at least if you're looking forward to playing all of these again.
Yeah.
One would argue, I think, still that Atari, as much as they try, does not have the same memorable library as the NES does. It may be the most iconic gaming library of all time.
Yeah, I'm sure it is to some people from a different era, the NES era. But you're right.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard to pack a lot of emotion and experience into these games, but people have their personal experiences while playing these games.
And for a lot of kids back then, they had the Atari 2600 at home and couldn't afford an NES, for example. So these were the games that they remember. So having it there, we should also quickly stress that this is not actually Atari publishing this themselves. This is another company, a third-party company, who has gotten the permission to do this.
Oh yeah.
So despite the fact that it says Atari everywhere, the Flashback part of it is that this is made by a third party. But that doesn't mean that it's not great. And as you can see here, like Fatal One Foul Frogger is also like
Frogger, which is a classic.
Yeah, a classic.
Alongside Space Invaders.
Yeah, alongside Space Invaders. So that, I mean,
versions of this game came out for the Amiga and the
that's
NES.
true. Yeah, the NES as well. So there is I think there is some of the games also on the NES Mini which echoes is the same. So I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, this is like I was about to say the genesis of modern gaming. I'm sure you can track that further back, but of home consoles, this is pretty much.
I completely forgot, by the way, that I thought you were supposed to jump on the cars.
What?
You know,
never played Frogger?
I did, but it's not like sort of my generation of game though.
Oh, I know you're doing it. The concept is kind of.
Yeah. Do I have to go in here?
No.
Yay! No. Yeah.
Did
is.
You?
Yeah, I was supposed to go into.
Okay. Well, you learn so fast.
Yeah.
Young Padawan.
Like this, when considering how crazy complicated games are these days, this is very simple.
Yeah.
Almost to the point. But then again, you know, why would you want this for something other than nostalgia? Because, you know, games are better today. They are more complex, more advanced, more beautiful. There is a point to be made, like if you're considering that maybe there is a simplicity to it that games are lacking today, but I think more than often than not, you can say that games are better in every way, shape, or form today. So why would you buy this other than nostalgia? Well, then it's okay that the machine just offers that. By the way, I think we're 2-player. Isn't that you up on there on the log? The blue frog? I can't remember.
No, like, that frog isn't me.
I was close to not being born when this was released. I actually think I wasn't born.
I don't know
this
what
is an 80s thing, right?
Well, the NES Mini is an 80s thing. I don't know how much earlier this is. I can't quite remember.
We have the box somewhere here. But yeah, again, this retails for, we found it on Amazon for $86, which is very close to what you would, and this comes with 2 controllers, so very close to what you would pay for the NES Mini if you had an extra controller with you, and actually little bit less. So if you want nostalgia in your home, maybe you played some games as a kid and you want to show this to your kids, this is a very easy way of doing that. We also have another video, which you can also watch on Gamereactor, where we test the flashback version of the Sega Mega Drive, so please stay tuned for that. And also stay tuned for more Gamereactor Quick Look videos in the future. Thank you so much for joining me, Thomas.
You're welcome.
The Atari Flashback 7 is on sale right now. See you out there.